For VR enthusiasts, the idea of picking up a brand new AAA flat game, pressing a button and then magically being able to play that same game in full 6-doof VR natively in the engine if they wanted to seems more like a thing of science fiction than reality. I would certainly thought that until master modder Praydog started to make the seemingly impossible a reality. This has been a huge month for VR modding, and in this month's issue, we're going to talk about one of the biggest breakthroughs in Flat 2 VR modding history that will open up a whole new world of VR ports, and we'll take a look at some incredible new mods that have come out or have taken steps forward in development. Praydog's Universal Unreal Engine VR Injector mod. Okay, now this is a big deal. This mod opens the door for VR enthusiasts to play heaps of AAA games in VR by making it easy to add initial VR support to games built with Unreal Engine. For the longest time, we've been mostly limited to adding full VR support with motion controls, etc. to only certain game engines. The Unity engine, for example, always ships with the VR code in a flat game, and that code can be re-enabled and a modder can then start building out VR mechanics on top of that with powerful Unity modding frameworks. Unreal Engine, on the other hand, strips out all of the VR code if a game doesn't build with the VR plugin still in. For some of our Unreal Engine VR mods, we asked the game developers and they were kind to add the plugins in the shipping build so that we could make a full VR mod for the game. MechWarrior 5 and Deep Rock Galactic with full motion controls are two examples of the developers doing this for us. Larger AAA games, however, like Jedi Fallen Order, are already completed and the developers have moved on, and there's no easy way to even build a new version of the game even if they wanted to with the VR code. Praydog's VR Injector changes this limitation for Flat 2 VR modders. The VR Injector is added to a game by just dropping in a few files in the game directory. You then just need to launch the game and it adds back all of the engine's native VR code and launches the game in VR. Normally, when you activate basic VR on a flat Unreal Engine game with the VR plugins in it, if it was built with them still in, a lot is broken with the experience. Any UI that was made to overlay on top of your monitor screen doesn't even show, for example, or it sits only in one eye at a weird angle. The VR camera often doesn't follow the player character, so that when you move the player, you might see a headless body run away in the distance. There's a lot of other issues like these. Praydog's mod automatically works through all of these common issues and correctly fixes them directly in the game engine for VR, since they're all using universal functions. This makes it not only a great place for a modder to start working on a full mod with motion controls, etc., but it makes most Unreal Engine games quite fantastic to play in VR out of the box. This could even be a powerful tool for developers to try their game in VR and to help them decide whether they want to do a full VR port or not. Loading up a racing game like Gravel, for example, feels just like playing the new Unreal Engine racing game F1 2022 that just released, and which has its own official VR support. Ace Combat 7 feels just like playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. Everspace 2 feels like playing Star Wars Squadrons, etc. I use these examples because they're all games which don't use motion controls and work almost identical to these official releases. For first-person shooters out of the box, you can use VR controllers like a gamepad or keyboard and mouse input, but modders will most likely want to build onto the mod with game-specific motion controls. Praydog does plan to add in a sort of universal motion control option that allows a motion controller to essentially point the mouse exactly where you're pointing it in 360 around you. This should still be a fun way to experience many games until full motion controls have been modded in by other modders for a specific game.
Someone, anyone, please help!
Okay. Uh-oh. Get away from me! Come on. This in history class. No!